All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Sarabjit Kaur and with me is VC Pramod. The headlines. NDA candidate Jagdeep Dhankar elected 14th Vice President of India to be sworn in on Thursday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to chair 7th Governing Council meeting of Niti Aayog in New Delhi today. Prime Minister says success of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is due to contribution of every citizen of the country. ISRO to launch its smallest commercial rocket this morning to unfurl tricolour in space. India's exports of agricultural and processed food products rise by 31% in first 3 months of current fiscal. ED questions Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut's wife Varsha Raut for 9 hours in connection with Patra Chaul redevelopment scam. At least 8 people killed and 22 injured in a bomb blast in Afghan capital Kabul. Wrestlers Ravi Dahiya, Vinesh Fogart and Naveen bagged gold medals at Commonwealth Games. Para table tennis player Bhavina Patel also clinches gold in women's singles event. And in cricket, India beat West Indies by 59 runs in 4th T20 International to take unassailable 3-1 lead in 5-match series. And now the news in detail. National Democratic Alliance NDA candidate Jagdeep Dhankar has been elected as India's 14th Vice President of India. Mr. Dhankar received 528 votes, defeating the opposition's candidate Ms. Margaret Alva, who got 182 votes. Mr. Dhankar swept the polls with 72.8% of the valid votes cast during the polls yesterday. His victory margin is highest in last 6 vice presidential polls. Mr. Dhankar will take oath of office on Thursday, a day after the term of the incumbent Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu ends. Mr. Dhankar will also be appointed the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. President Draupadi Murmu, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, union ministers and several other leaders have congratulated Mr. Dhankar on winning the vice presidential election. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will chair the 7th Governing Council meeting of Niti Aayog at Rashtrapati Bhavan Cultural Centre, New Delhi today. The meeting will pave the way for synergies towards a new era of collaboration and cooperation between centre and states and union territories. As part of preparations for the meeting, the National Conference of Chief Secretaries, chaired by the Prime Minister, was held in Dharamshala in June this year. The meeting is going to be very important as the country enters Amrit Kal against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic and in light of India hosting the G20 presidency and summit next year. Our correspondent reports that the meeting will also lay emphasis on the importance of the presidency for India for the federal system and the role that states can play in highlighting their progress at the G20 platform.
This will be the first in-person meeting of the Governing Council since July 2019. Niti Aayog's Governing Council is the premier body tasked with evolving a shared vision of national priorities and strategies with the active involvement of states and union territories. The Governing Council presents a platform to discuss intersectoral, interdepartmental and federal issues. The agenda of the meeting includes crop diversification and achieving self-sufficiency in oilseeds, pulses and agri-communities, implementation of the national education policy and urban governance. The meeting will endeavour to finalize a roadmap and outcome-oriented action plan on each of the themes. With Dipendra Kumar, I am Shailendra Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that success of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is due to the contribution of every citizen of the country. He said the committees at national, state and district levels have been working day and night to take Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to the masses. Addressing the 3rd National Committee meeting on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in New Delhi, Mr. Modi said the emotional flavour of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is the core of the campaign. He said Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is a sanskar utsav for the youth which will fill them with the undying passion to contribute for the country. Mr. Modi said the current generation will be the leaders of tomorrow and therefore we have to inculcate in them now a sense of duty and responsibility to realize the dreams and vision of India at the rate 100. He said the technological revolution has stepped up the speed of change tremendously. In his closing remarks, the Prime Minister said we must nourish and nurture our unity and promote India as Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, because a united nation is a progressive nation. He said in this light our national flag Tiranga is a symbol of unity, a unity which brings positivity and prosperity for the nation. Mr. Modi said we are passing through a period of Amrit Kal, marked by the spirit of Sankalp Se Siddhi, which will take our country to the peak of success in the next 25 years. Indian Space Research Organization ISRO will launch its smallest commercial rocket today to unfurl the tricolour in space. The launch will take place on the Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Sriharikota at 9:18 a.m. The mission will launch Earth Observation Satellite EOS-02 and a co-passenger satellite Azadi-Sat into low Earth orbit. ISRO Chairman S. Somanath has called the new satellite a game-changer that would drive India's dreams of breaking into the lucrative and booming small satellite launch market. Azadi-Sat, comprising 75 payloads, has been built by 750 young girl students from 75 rural government schools across India. This project was specially conceptualized for the 75th Independence Day year celebrations to encourage scientific temper and create opportunities for young girls to choose space research as their career. Space Kids India founder Dr. Srimati Keshan said that it was an incredible opportunity for the girls to be a part of the program.
Azadi-Sat is not an ordinary satellite. It is the emotion of 750 rural girls. And this is historical because this is the first ever time any satellite mission involved about 750 young girls, and especially from rural India during the celebrations of 75th Indian independence. And these children, 750 children from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, were handpicked, given online training about what is rocketry, what is satellite, what is the difference between them, and they truly enjoyed this whole journey.
Our correspondent has filed this report.
The stage is all set for the launch of India's newest rocket SSLV-D1 today from the Satish Dhawan Space Centre, Sriharikota. The rocket is 34 meter tall and weighs around 120 ton, having a maximum luggage carrying capacity of 500 kg. It will carry an Earth observation satellite weighing about 145 kg. Azadi-Sat, built by 750 students of government girls' schools across India, facilitated by Space Kids India and Niti Aayog, will pay a tribute to 75 years of Indian independence. In just 12 minutes from the launch, EOS-2 will be put into orbit. The commercial arm of ISRO, New Space India, plans to transfer the SSLV technology for production in the private sector. The EOS satellite is an experimental optical imaging satellite and will send pictures with high resolution. Joy, Area News, Sriharikota.
All post offices across the country will remain open on holidays falling ahead of the Independence Day to facilitate the sales and distribution of national flags under Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. The Ministry of Communications informed this in a statement yesterday. It said special arrangements will be made for the sale of national flags on 7th, 9th and 14th of this month through at least one counter at post offices. The ministry said special arrangements will also be made for the delivery of the national flags in all delivery post offices.
नए भारत की नई कहानी अब आसमां को सुनाना है। गर्व है इस तिरंगे पर, सारे जहां को ये दिखाएंगे। अमृत काल मनाएंगे, घर घर तिरंगा लहराएंगे। घर घर तिरंगा, हर घर तिरंगा।
The exports of agricultural and processed food products have risen by 31% in the first 3 months of the current financial year. According to the provisional data released by the Directorate General of Commercial Intelligence and Statistics, the overall export of agricultural and processed food products increased to $7,408 million in April to June this year, from $5,663 million over the same period of the last fiscal. The export target for April to June this year was fixed at $5,890 million. The APIDA has set an export target of $23.56 billion for agricultural and processed food products basket for this fiscal.
The Railway Protection Force (RPF) has nabbed 365 suspects and recovered stolen property of passengers worth over 1 crore rupees during the month-long pan-India drive Operation Yatri Suraksha. The RPF had launched this drive last month to enhance security of passengers.
India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 206 crore 18 lakh mark. More than 24 lakh vaccine doses were administered yesterday. The Union Health Ministry said that the cumulative first dose of COVID vaccine has been administered to over 102 crore and second dose administered to more than 93 crore 54 lakh. The ministry said over 10 crore 57 lakh precaution doses have been administered to the identified categories of beneficiaries, including healthcare workers, frontline workers, and people above 18 years of age. The ministry said more than 6 crore 81 lakh vaccine doses have been administered to children in the age group of 12 to 14 years so far.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. NDA candidate Jagdeep Dhankar elected 14th Vice President of India to be sworn in on Thursday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to chair 7th Governing Council meeting of Niti Aayog in New Delhi today. Prime Minister says success of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is due to the contribution of every citizen of the country. ISRO to launch its smallest commercial rocket this morning to unfurl the tricolour in space. India's exports of agricultural and processed food products rise by 31% in first 3 months of current fiscal. ED questions Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut's wife Varsha Raut for 9 hours in connection with the Patra Chaul redevelopment scam. At least 8 people killed and 22 injured in a bomb blast in Afghan capital Kabul. Wrestlers Ravi Dhaya, Vinesh Fogart and Naveen bagged gold medals at Commonwealth Games. Para table tennis player Bhavina Patel also clinches gold in women's singles event. And in cricket, India beat West Indies by 59 runs in 40-20 international to take unassailable 3-1 lead in 5-match series. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग। आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता। बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर। 8700014242।
क्या आप वरिष्ठ नागरिक हैं? क्या आपके मन में सेहत, आर्थिक, सामाजिक या भावनात्मक मुद्दों से जुड़ा कोई सवाल है? आकाशवाणी आपके लिए लेकर आया है कार्यक्रम एक कदम और बुजुर्गों के लिए, हर रविवार रात 9:30 बजे FM गोल्ड पर। आप अपने सवाल हमें व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर भेज सकते हैं या इस पते पर ईमेल कर सकते हैं एक कदम और airnews@gmail.com।
Welcome back to the morning news. India will complete 75 years of its independence on the 15th of this month. This year, the Independence Day will take place amidst the ongoing Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations. In the run-up to the Independence Day celebration, All India Radio News is running a special series, India at 75. Today, the theme is A Self-Reliant India. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan or Self-Reliant India campaign is the vision of New India envisaged by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. On the 12th of May 2020, Mr. Modi gave a clarion call to the nation, giving a kick-start to the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. The aim is to make the country and its citizens independent and self-reliant in all senses. Mr. Modi had outlined 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat: economy, infrastructure, system, vibrant demography and demand. Agriculture plays a very crucial role in Atmanirbhar Bharat. It continues to be the source of livelihood for majority of the population, and it has a vast impact on every citizen of the country, either directly or indirectly. with a motive to transform the agriculture into a sustainable enterprise. The Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare has taken a host of historical pro-agriculture landmark initiatives. Addressing an event, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had stressed on the need for the country to be self-reliant in agriculture. He had said that the goal of self-sufficiency in agriculture is to make a farmer productive as well as an entrepreneur.
जब हम कृषि में आत्मनिर्भरता की बात करते हैं तो ये सिर्फ खाद्यान्न तक ही सीमित नहीं है, बल्कि ये गांव की पूरी अर्थव्यवस्था की आत्मनिर्भरता की बात है। ये देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों में खेती से पैदा होने वाले उत्पादों में वैल्यू एडिशन करके देश और दुनिया के बाजारों में पहुंचाने का मिशन है। कृषि में आत्मनिर्भरता का लक्ष्य किसानों को एक उत्पादक के साथ ही उद्यमी बनाने का भी है। जब किसान और खेती उद्योग की भांति आगे बढ़ेगी तो बड़े स्तर पर गांव में और गांव के पास ही रोजगार और स्वरोजगार के अवसर तैयार होने वाले हैं।
In March this year, for the first time ever, India achieved export targets of $400 billion. The highest ever goods export target was achieved 9 days ahead of the 31st of March deadline. As a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The next question of Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with the listeners on Monday, 8th of August. Celebrate 75 years of India's independence by participating in Amrit Mahotsav quiz with AIR News. And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
The first Indian flag against the imperialist British administration was hoisted on the 7th of August 1906 in Kolkata. This flag had 3 horizontal stripes of red, yellow and green with Vande Mataram written in the middle. The red strip on the flag had a sun and a crescent moon, and the green strip had 8 half-open lotuses. It is believed to have been designed by freedom fighters Sachendra Prasad Bose and Hemchandra Kanungo.
যদি তোর ডাক শুনি কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে।
We pay our tributes to legendary literary giant Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, who died on the 7th of August 1941.
যদি সবাই থাকে মুখরায় সবাই করে ভয় তবে পরাণ খুলে ও তুই মুখ ফুটে তোর মনের কথা একলা বলো রে।
A multi-talented personality in every sense, Tagore was a poet, Brahmo Samaj philosopher, playwright, novelist, painter and a composer. He modified Bengali art by rebuffing the strictures that confined it within the sphere of classical Indian forms. Apart from the Indian national anthem, Jana Gana Mana, his composition Amar Shonar Bangla was adopted as the national anthem of Bangladesh, and the national anthem of Sri Lanka was inspired by one of his works.
Amar Shonar Bangla, ami tomaয় ভালোবাসি।
Tagore vouched for Indian independence through his motivating songs. He supported Indian nationalists and publicly criticized imperialism. During the partition of Bengal in 1905, Rabindranath provided active leadership to the Swadeshi movement, advocating boycott of British goods and promotion of indigenous products.
বাংলার মাটি বাংলার জল বাংলার বায়ু বাংলা
Rabindranath Tagore wrote the song Banglar Mati Banglar Jol to unite the Bengali population. In 1915, he received knighthood from the British Crown, which he later renounced, citing the massacre at Jallianwala Bagh. He said that the knighthood meant nothing to him when the British failed to even consider his fellow Indians as humans.
Rabindranath also criticized the education system that was forced upon India by the British. Reforming education became a cornerstone of his mission for society and nation building. And to this end, Gurudev Rabindranath established Vishwa Bharati University at Shantiniketan in 1921.
Amader Shantiniketan chede sob hote apon amader sob hote apon amader Shantiniketan.
The noble soul breathed his last on the 7th of August 1941 at Kolkata. Rabindranath Tagore changed the way Bengali literature was viewed, and he left an everlasting impression on many. There are 5 museums dedicated to Tagore. While 3 of them are situated in India, the remaining 2 are in Bangladesh. The museums houses famous works and are visited by millions every year. AIR News pays tribute to the great noble soul.
We also remember nationalist artist Abanindranath Tagore, who was born on the 7th of August 1871 in West Bengal. Nephew of Rabindranath Tagore, Abanindranath Tagore was the first major supporter of Swadeshi values in Indian art.
Abanindranath created the Indian Society of Oriental Art and Bengal School of Art to counter the English influence on Indian artists. He rejected the materialistic art of the West and emphasized on returning to the Indian traditional art forms. He believed that Indian art and its art forms gave importance to spirituality as opposed to the West, which stressed on materialism. His idea of modernizing Mughal paintings and Rajput paintings eventually gave rise to modern Indian painting. Most of his works revolved around Hindu philosophy. His notable paintings include Ganesh Janani, Bharat Mata, and the Victory of Buddha.
The great nationalist died on the 5th of December 1951. AIR News salutes the great nationalist. That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
बर्फ से ढके पहाड़,
हवा के साथ झूमते चीड़ चिनार,
झीलों पर तैरते शिकारे,
हरी भरी घाटियों के दिलकश नजारे।
आकाशवाणी समाचार आपके लिए लेकर आया है जम्मू कश्मीर विशेष श्रृंखला एक नई सुबह।
हम बात करते हैं विकास की, निवेश की,
पर्यटन की, संस्कृति की
और रोज हो रहे बदलावों की। FM गोल्ड पर सुनिए हर शुक्रवार रात 9:15 पर आकाशवाणी समाचार की विशेष प्रस्तुति
जम्मू कश्मीर एक नई सुबह।
Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut's wife, Varsha Raut, was questioned for 9 hours by the Enforcement Directorate in Mumbai yesterday. While talking to the media, Varsha Raut said she had replied to all the questions and she was not asked to come again for the inquiry. Varsha Raut was summoned by the probe agency in connection with the Patra Chawl redevelopment scam. Sanjay Raut was arrested last Sunday by the ED in a money laundering case. Sri Lankan government has asked the Chinese government to defer the visit of its spy vessel Yuan Wang 5 at Hambantota port until further consultations are made on the matter. India has said that it carefully monitors any development having a bearing on its security and economic interests. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said the Indian government is aware of reports of a proposed visit by this vessel to Hambantota in August.
In Afghanistan, a bomb blast in the capital Kabul killed at least 8 people and injured 22 yesterday. The blast on a busy shopping street in the western part of the city, a predominantly Shia neighborhood, is the second attack in the past 2 days. Islamic State has claimed responsibility for the attack through its Telegram channel. In the Commonwealth Games, India added 4 gold and 3 silver medals yesterday, raising the overall tally of medals to 40. Indian wrestlers dominated the event with another hat-trick of gold medals in wrestling as Ravi Kumar Dhaya, Vinesh Fogart and Naveen won the yellow medal in their respective categories. Star India para table tennis player Bhavina Patel also won a gold medal in the women's singles class 3-5. While another Indian para table tennis player Sonalben Manubhai Patel got bronze medal in the women's singles class 3-5. Earlier, Indian men's hockey team defeated South Africa 3-2 to reach the final and secured another medal for the country. They will face either Australia or New Zealand in the gold medal watch. Earlier yesterday, India also added 3 silver medals in its kitty. India has also confirmed 4 medals in boxing as 4 boxers will fight for the gold today. Amit Panghal, Neetu Ghangas, Nikhat Zareen and Sagar Ehlawat have reached the finals of their respective events. India has won 40 medals so far, which include 13 gold, 11 silver and 16 bronze medals.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated the players of lawn bowl men's team Sunil Bahadur, Navneet Singh, Chandan Kumar Singh and Dinesh Kumar for clinching the silver medal at the Commonwealth Games. In cricket, India beat the West Indies by 59 runs in the 4th T20 International to take an unassailable 3-1 lead in the 5-match series at Central Broward Regional Park in Lauderhill, Florida last night. The 5th and final T20 will be played today at 8 p.m. Indian time at the Central Broward Regional Park in Lauderhill, Florida. And now let us have a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature was 26 degrees and the maximum will be around 32 degrees. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Chennai, the minimum temperature was 27 degrees and the maximum will be 33 degrees. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Hyderabad, the minimum temperature was 21 degrees and the maximum will be 29 degrees Celsius. Bengaluru, minimum temperature was 20 degrees Celsius. Maximum will be around 26 degrees. Visakhapatnam will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. With curtains down on election to the second highest constitutional office, Dhankar defeats Alva. Elected Vice President headlines the Hindustan Times. Centre sounds caution over steady rise in COVID-19 cases. Health Ministry writes to 6 states and Delhi, writes the Hindu. With an aim to counter China's model village along the India-China border, MHA stamp on plan to set up villages near LAC soon, informs the Asian Age. Reacting to China's military drills following US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taipei, Taiwan activates missile systems against Chinese simulated attacks, reports the Sunday Pioneer. With the stage all set, ISRO to launch SSLV rocket today, writes the Sunday Statesman. And finally, claiming a historic Commonwealth Games silver in the 3,000-meter steeplechase. Not just Kenyans or Ethiopians, Indian too can win steeplechase, notes the Sunday Express.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. NDA candidate Jagdeep Dhankar elected 14th Vice President of India to be sworn in on Thursday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to chair 7th Governing Council meeting of Niti Aayog in New Delhi today. Prime Minister says success of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is due to contribution of every citizen of the country. ISRO to launch its smallest commercial rocket this morning to unfurl tricolour in space. India's exports of agriculture and processed food products rise by 31% in first 3 months of current fiscal. ED questions Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut's wife Varsha Raut for 9 hours in connection with Patra Chaul redevelopment scam. At least 8 people killed and 22 injured in a bomb blast in Afghan capital Kabul. Wrestlers Ravi Daya, Vinesh Fogart and Naveen bagged gold medals at Commonwealth Games. Para table tennis player Bhavina Patel also clinches gold in women's singles event. And in cricket, India beat West Indies by 59 runs in 4th T20 International to take unassailable 3-1 lead in 5-match series. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.